we think gold money is well positioned and to take advantage of the chaos. And in fact, it is the answer for the chaos because it's a very efficient, modern, economical, and safe way of transacting with one another with sound currency. So we think that gold money's role in the future will become increasingly important as national currencies become less important because of the mismanagement by central banks and governments.
I have a few more questions, but very important is typically when you're dealing with currencies, personally or in business, you are operating inside an accounting universe. How do people transition psychologically and on a protocol level in terms of accounting for the transactions that are being had through gold money, using gold as money with regard to reporting? Do you have any suggestions about that? The whole accounting is going to be different, isn't it?
Yeah, all I can, I can't give tax advice and things like that. That's not our business. We're in the business of gold and silver. And the other thing that we do is we follow the rules and the laws in the country where we operate, which is the British Channel Islands. We don't do any external reporting. We require in our user agreements that our users comply with the rules and regulations from where they access gold money. But because we're not allowed to do any external reporting to governments around the world, we don't. Because of law, privacy laws in the Channel Islands, we don't do any external reporting.
Okay, so in a sense, could we say that gold money as a system for transacting business is a parallel system?
Yeah, it is a parallel system. Once you send send national currency to gold money in order to purchase gold or silver, and once you make the exchange out of national currency into gold or silver, you now have gold or silver that's in a parallel payment system to the existing national currency banking system.
But if, for example, if all the currencies crash, okay, they crash the dollar, they crash the reserve currency, and they start to use special drawing rights, which is this basket of currencies, which they're not telling us yet what basket of currencies will be used or how long that will be a transitional form of currency. Won't people be losing all their value and their purchasing power if they wait too long to move into a gold money system?
Yeah, the gold price is going higher all of the time. So, eventually you have to make the decision as to when you're going to use gold and silver to help protect your purchasing power. And it goes back to the point we were discussing before. What I basically recommend is view it as a savings account every month or every quarter, or every 4 months or 6 months, whenever you feel comfortable. Regardless of what the price of gold or silver is at that moment in time, just move out of national currency into gold or silver and view that gold or silver to be your savings account. A dollar cost averaging basis is the best way to accumulate the precious metals. I've been saying this all decade long. And even though gold has done as well as it has, gold is still undervalued. So I think dollar cost averaging gold or silver, going forward is definitely a very good strategy.
When I've shared about gold money with people, some people have said to me, look, there's only a finite amount of gold in the world, whereas with currency, you can just keep printing it. So there's only so much gold in the world to go around. Eventually, people are going to not be able to transact in gold money or silver money, etc., because there's only so much to go around. And some people have said because silver, is most of it is in demand, and the above ground amount of silver that's available is more limited, and gold is often hoarded, that there's not going to be enough to go around to be in a gold money transaction system. What do you say to that?
Yeah, the fact that there is a limited amount of gold is one of its greatest attributes. It can't be created out of thin air like paper currency. You can't have a central bank bailing out financial institutions by creating gold out of thin air like they've created dollars out of thin air to bail out all of these insolvent banks. So that's gold's greatest attribute. But it goes back to the point I made before. You have this above-ground stock of gold. It's now approximately 160,000 metric tons, and it grows by about 1.7% per annum, which is approximately equal to new wealth creation and world population growth. So you have this natural form of money. The second aspect to that is velocity. You can have even a smaller amount of gold, but if it moves around much more quickly, it will be able to accomplish what you need to accomplish in terms of commercial transactions. So I don't think that argument is correct, because I think most people are looking at gold more like they look at other currencies, other commodities, rather than looking at what gold really is. It's different from other forms of commodities because it's accumulated, it's not consumed.
So, but in your GoldMoney system, I can use it to transact business. If people want to advertise with its Rainmaking time, if somebody wants to do a deal with my company, the Rainmaking Company, they can pay for services or do transactions via GoldMoney and gold, silver, or platinum, correct?
Yeah, that's right. You can even, price your transactions in terms of euros, for example. Let's say you have an import business in California and you're importing 5,000 euros worth of goods from somebody in Italy. You can pay for that transaction with gold online through GoldMoney, and you actually the weight of gold that transfers is the exact equivalent to those 5,000 euros at the prevailing exchange rate at the moment that you make the transaction. Or you can just transact with other people and say, I'll do this for you for 1,000 gold grams, and you just pay 1,000 gold grams to completely avoid all national currencies.
So you don't think that you do not think that it matters if metals are in shorter supply in terms of only a certain amount of people will be able to get in. Can the whole world participate with GoldMoney?
Yeah, we have customers in over 100 different countries around the world. And anybody who wants to, open an account and they meet our application process can go ahead and transact and become a account holder in GoldMoney.
And the last question I had, which is very much part of complementing and completing the loop in this broadcast interview with you, is the following. Most attorneys, in my experience, are used to doing transactions and contracts relative to the reserve currency, which is U.S. dollars. Don't we need people to begin showing up and being trained in being able to write contracts for metal payments? Yeah,
and that's legal to do under U.S. law. Anybody who wants to can write a contract in terms of gold. But the first step is people actually have to start calculating the price of goods and services in terms of gold to truly understand what's happening to national currencies. So it's going to take a while, but I think as the problems with national currencies become increasingly serious, more people will turn to gold, and hopefully people will continue to turn to GoldMoney as they have been doing, since we launched back in 2001.
And the last question is, if I'm pricing my goods and services in terms of GoldMoney or gold grams, if the dollar crashes, which it's apparently on its way to crashing, as well as the euro, how do you attribute value for goods and services without something to compare it to? A context for the value usually is in a currency. What do you do?
Yeah, the value is in an item's usefulness. So it's a question of how the two individuals who are transacting view the item, how they value the item that they're transacting in. But again, it goes back to calculating the price of goods and services in terms of gold. Looking at barrels of crude oil in terms of gold, or how many silver dollars it takes to fill up the family car. It's calculating prices of goods and services in terms of precious metals, which is the way it was under the classical gold standard. We just happened to call them pounds or dollars, but basically they were just pieces of paper circulating in place of gold.
So this is a whole mental state change, really. It's a paradigm change is what you're doing, is what you're offering, too. Not only a system, but a paradigm change.
Yeah, it's basically going back to the point where, gold is a form of currency. Keep in mind, too, currencies, terms like pound, mark, lira, franc, dirham, these are all weights. They're all weights of gold or weights of silver. it was only $1 that was called something that wasn't a weight, and that was because of historical reasons in terms of a nickname that was given to the silver dollar.